The trial of 3 men charged in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. It's set to begin tomorrow. Travis McMichael, his father Gregory McMichael, and a neighbor, William Roddy Bryan Jr., are pleading not guilty to charges of murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment, saying that the shooting was justified under Georgia's citizen arrest law. Arbery's family says he was just out jogging when the McMichaels chased him down in a pickup truck and shot him after a struggle. Alex Presha is there in Brunswick, Georgia for us with the latest. Alex, let's start with the controversy already over the jury selection. 12 jurors seated, 4 alternates, all of them white except for 1 black man. What else do we know about these jurors and how this selection is playing out?
Hey, Kira. Well, so this selection took 12 days. Summonses sent out to about 1,000 residents. And we were talking about the composition of that jury. Of the 16, including the alternates, only 1 black man. We know 1 black juror will be seated on this jury. But part of the reason it's been such a headline is because, I mean, you look at the surrounding Glenn County here where this trial has taken place, about 30% or almost 1 in 3 residents here is black. And so when you compare that statistic to that of what's going to comprise this jury, it's definitely been a cause of a controversy here. But I can tell you that these jurors, they range in age from 20 to possibly early 80s, and they include at least 1 veteran of the Air Force.
So part of the reason this jury selection has been so difficult is it's in a very small community, and this community was rocked by Arbery's death. What are you hearing from people there and their reaction to this jury that's simply not diverse?
Well, Kira, again, I mean, a lot has been, kind of similar to some of the headlines that we've been talking about, that this jury pool is not necessarily reflective of the community in which this trial is taking place in. Certainly, you have that 1 black juror, but again, of the 16, we've got 12 women, 3 white men, and just that 1 black juror. And so, we've seen certainly supporters of the Arbery family outside the courthouse today. They were leaving yesterday, and it was something that many of them said they were disappointed in. But still, I mean, there's some optimism that this is actually going forward. I mean, I think when you've had this huge buildup, the 2 weeks that it's taken to get a jury, and then also just the ramp up to this trial in general, the fact that tomorrow we're expecting to finally hear opening arguments, certainly in this community and certainly with supporters of the Arbery family, there is a sense of relief that this is moving forward.
Relief, and of course we'll follow the controversy. The judge even acknowledging that he saw this jury selection as intentional discrimination. It's going to be interesting to follow. And Alex, I know you're going to be with us through the end of this week and next week as we follow gavel to gavel coverage there in Brunswick. Alex, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now this trial has been delayed by several motions from the defense. For more on those motions and how they could affect the proceedings, let's bring in trial attorney and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer, who's also there in Brunswick, for more on the trial, what to expect in the coming days. It's always great to talk with Brian. It's good to see you there, Brian. Thanks for doing the swap. Now, the judge in this case, as Alex was just talking about there, acknowledged today that there appears to be intentional discrimination in the jury process. But then he said this state law has basically tied his hands. A lot of people are wondering, could this be grounds for a mistrial right out of the gate?
Unfortunately not. What the judge is describing is a 2-part process. This is called a Batson challenge. It comes from a Supreme Court case that's a federal trial. And what the judge has to do is a 2-prong attack. What he did say in the first prong is he does see an amount of bias. And so it's called a prima facie case, basically. The second prong of a Batson challenge is whether or not the defense in this situation can give a race-neutral commentary as to why they eliminated a juror. In this case, what they did is they used these challenges as a second bite of the apple because they have said that these specific jurors cannot put aside their biases, and because of that, they need to eliminate them, and not because of their race. The prosecution, however, highlighted that both jurors who were white and black answered the same way, that they had reservations, but they could still follow the judge's rules. The prosecution highlighted, though, that the white jurors still made it onto the panel while the black jurors got eliminated. I think the judge did what may be a spark for the future that may change Batson challenges in Georgia, that second prong kind of insulates the first prong when bias is found.
So, Brian, could we see the federal government step in?
That I'm not sure. I think that really depends on the outcome of this case. I did have an opportunity to speak with Merritt, though, yesterday after this decision was made, and he seemed somewhat hopeful that Ahmaud Arbery has already started to change laws in this state. First, that we have hate crime charges in Georgia that never occurred. Second, that this old citizens arrest law that dates back to pre-Civil War time is now repealed and replaced. The hope for Merritt, I think many people here, is that Judge Wansley has kind of set the spark to show that when we can all see there's bias, the law somehow insulates that, and that may need to be changed.
Let's talk, Brian, about the arguments themselves once this trial gets underway. As you were just alluding to, the defense is going to say these men were just conducting a citizen's arrest, which at the time was protected by law. The shooting was justified, they're going to say, by Arbery's actions. How do you think these arguments are going to play out?
So one of the biggest ones for citizen arrest is the definition of burglary. Most people think burglary is just breaking into a home. However, in Georgia and most states, the way I describe it at least, is trespass plus one. In Georgia, it's trespass plus theft or another felony. And so today they were fighting back and forth as to what burglary will be defined for as the jurors, because what they're hoping is that they can get the definition that works best for their case, so they can say, hey, the McMichaels saw someone coming out of this dwelling, but we all know it to be something under construction and not a structure where people were living, one of the issues that they're arguing about, but also the definition of burglary, that if the McMichaels simply saw someone running out of that building, they can lean on a softer definition of burglary rather than the tighter one that needs a felony on top of a trespass.
So all three men are charged with murder, despite William Bryan, who filmed the encounter from afar. How do you expect attorneys to strategize here and address that?
So for both the McMichaels and Bryan, they're facing what's called felony murder. Now, the malicious murder charges for the McMichaels, will put that aside. That's not something that I think Bryan has to really focus on. But the felony murder is something that's going to be very difficult. Felony murder, you don't have to actually intend to kill someone. You simply need to commit a felony, and as a result, someone dies. So for William Bryan, the toughest thing for him is that he committed, or what the prosecutor's going to argue, an unlawful and not unlawful endangerment, sorry, but an unlawful imprisonment. And that as a result of an unlawful imprisonment, he died. And that's felony murder. That's going to be the most difficult thing for Goff, the attorney for William Bryan.
All right, Brian Buckmire, such a fascinating case, just getting underway. We'll have gavel-to-gavel coverage of the trial tomorrow. We'll look forward to hearing more from Brian. Starts 9 a.m. Eastern here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.